Hey, thanks for tuning in. We got a great show for you tonight. We got Nick Christopher's on. Nick's an author out of New York. We know that he wrote a great book with John ALITE, Prison Rules. Mob Ties is another great book he wrote. And he's got 4 books out there right now. He's doing great. So we got him on the show tonight. We're going to talk about these books. We'll talk about his experiences living in New York and growing up around these wise guys. It is interesting, this. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Nick. Thank you. Hey, we're back here with Nick, and I'm going to let Nick introduce himself again. And I already told you a little about him. So, Nick, tell us about your background a little in New York, growing up over there with these wise guys.
Well, I grew up around Rockaway Park, right near, not too far from Howard Beach, and I grew up around a lot of these guys by default, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to give you a little bit of a go back a little bit, when I was in elementary school, I was getting beat up every day. I was bullied every single day.
Oh.
Every day after school, guys jumped me all the time. So when I got into junior high school, I said, I got to do something about this. This is getting out of hand. So it just so happened there was a gang in the school, and the leader happened to be Greek, like me. It just so happened. Mm-hmm. And I became friendly with him, and I eventually got initiated into their crew, and I had to do something, like you know how it is. I had to do something to get in, so I shoplifted, I got caught, and that's how I was, inducted, so to speak, with those guys. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into that kind of world, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I got to a lot of fights and things like that. I got pinched when I was 21 for assault. And besides that, a lot of guys, my father used to own a cafe, like most Greeks. And a lot of guys used to come to my store, maid guys. I had the boss of the Colombo crew used to come in there all the time, Vic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew Vic well. I grew up his whole family. Booby Sosani, who was with Sonny Black, used to come in there every now and then. I went to AC with Booby, but as a matter of fact.
Wow.
Guys like those guys used to come in all the time. Angelo Ruggiero came in one time. So when I was young, I was 12, 13 years old. So I was fascinated by them, mm-hmm. And I was like, what are these guys doing? Mm-hmm. And I'll even tell you a funny story. My father loved to bet, like most Greek guys.
Yeah. And
we had a guy, Sally, that used to come in the store every day. And I'm like 12, 13 years old now, so I don't understand his life, So this guy is like, comes in, walks behind the counter, and walks to the back of the restaurant in the back room. I'm like, what the hell's this guy doing? So I'm telling my dad, I go, Dad, where's this guy going? My father goes, don't worry about it. It's okay, don't worry about it. All right. I eventually find out he's our bookie.
Oh.
So he used to come in there and take bets, horse bets. He used to bring the football sheets. If you remember back in the day, we used to have the football sheets.
Oh, yeah.
Me, with my smart mind, I took a football sheet, and I had a library, and I made Xerox copies of it. And I used to sell them myself at the school. I used to have all the Jewish kids bet with me. So eventually my father found out, almost kicked my ass.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I got to know the life, know people like that. I didn't get mixed into it. I almost did, but I didn't, which was probably the good thing. That's where I kind of landed. That's when I started writing about it rather than being in it, so to speak.
I wish I did that myself, my friend. I would have saved myself a lot of problems.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it was exciting hanging out with these guys. Hanging out with John, with Booby, and Vic's whole family. I knew his sons. So it was fun and exciting. But somehow, I think it was more, I devoted to my dad, who kind of got me away from that
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
So I could say my dad is like, I could thank him for like getting me away. Actually, even more so, Bobby,
Yeah.
when I was pinched and I was sitting in the cell, the desk sergeant came to my cell and he said to me, "You made bail." I said, "Who posted bail?" He said, "Your father did." I said, "Oh shit." So he goes to me, "You got to leave." He posted a bill, "You got to leave." I said, I look at the desk sergeant and I go, "I'm good here. I don't want to leave."
Yeah.
So I said, the guy goes to me, he goes, "Why?" I said, "You take a look at my father. The guy's 6'1". He's a big guy. He's going to kick my ass." He
Yeah.
says, "Well, you got to leave." So I left. But I tell you, when I was sitting in there by myself, I started thinking. I said, is this the road I really want to go down? You know, what is this for me? And I think that kind of gave me a little bit of an, enlightenment. And
Now, how old were you at this time, Nick?
when I got pinched,
Yeah,
21.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good age to realize that this wasn't for you, you know?
Yeah.
And believe me, I spent 14 years in prison, so I know what it's like, and I've been locked up quite a few times in my life, when I was younger too.
Yeah.
But my father was a gangster like you. I grew up around all these capos and made guys and up in Boston, and we admired them, and it happens like it happened to you a little there, We see the money, we see the clothes, we see the women, but good for you that at 21, that's what you decided to do. When I was 21 years old, I had a construction company, and I was doing well up until the market crashed. I was about, 29, 30 years old. I came back to Boston and went out on the street, which I wish I never did now, but I guess it was something I had to experience myself, Nick,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
and now you started, you got 4 books. That's awesome.
Mm.
I love to write and teach myself. I wrote that Christian book, God's Plan Revealed. I have that up there on Amazon now. And Emily Sweeney is doing my life story right now in the war in the 90s in Boston. And I have another book from Copper to Christians that I never published. It needs to be polished,
Right.
But regardless with that book, like I said, I self-published. I sent that out to publishers. I sent out query letters. And they told me, and I'm talking to you about this because you're a writer. I'm a little excited about that, And I sent out query letters and all of that. And they said I was a new author and a Christian author, and they didn't want to take a chance with me. I'm sure you understand that. And
Sure.
that's why I self-published. From Copper to Christian, I am definitely going to publish that either way, either through my manager or self-publish it. But I want to put that book out soon. But a lot of what's in that book is going to be in Emily's book. So I want Emily's book to come out first. I'll rewrite from Copper to Christian a little. And you know what I need to do,
Sure.
in this way, because that's more of a Christian book. And hers is definitely going to be a law book,
Right. Okay. That's good.
We have a bad storm outside the studio right now. So if you hear it, if it's picking it up, that's what it is. We got a bad thunderstorm. Hopefully it's going to pass soon, and the noise will be over with.
It's probably come by me soon, probably.
Yeah, it's either coming up or going down. I don't know. But I can hear the pouring rain outside the window.
Oh, okay.
I
look forward to it.
Yeah, so we got insulation, everything up, but I wasn't going to block a window for this,
Okay.
So we got to struggle sometimes with the noise, but that's okay. It's still going to come out good, Nick. So tell me more about yourself. Now, John ALITE is a friend of mine. You know that.
Yeah.
He's done my show. I've done his show. I really like John. How was it working with him and writing the book with him?
It was exciting. John was a phenomenal man. I was very fortunate to have met with him a couple of years ago. And again, we knew a lot of the same kind of people growing up.
Yeah.
Not too much difference in age. And which was pretty funny. And that's how we kind of clicked, because I mentioned names, he mentioned names. Oh shit, yeah, I know him. and that just created a friendship. And then eventually he brought this idea to my table, telling me about prison rules. And I thought it was a great idea. And that's then we collaborated, we worked on it, and we made it happen. And it was, like I told you earlier, it was first published by a guy in California, publishing company, but that didn't work out. And I got out of contract. We got out of contract with him, and then we just put it out ourselves. And the funny thing, in the book making business, as you may know, you make more money self-publishing than you do with a publisher.
Oh, you do, because that's basically after Amazon takes their end out, the rest is yours, and I think it is a good way to go. You've written 4 books. You're an established author. With me, it was a little tougher. Plus, my genre was Christian. That's tough, But like I said, after this book comes out with Emily, I think I'd have a better shot self-publishing from copper to Christian.
Right. Okay. Well, that would be good. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bobby. You were saying.
Well, while I was in prison, I got a degree in theology, studied the Bible for years, was a teacher, So I really liked that genre and writing about that. But then again, I was a mob boss, so there's 2 sides to the coin with me. And it's hard, it's hard to put them both together. And when we first went out with the book, we tried that, crossing the genres together, and the publishers didn't like it, So now they're going to be 2 separate books.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Well, I think it's an interesting concept where it's 2 different, like you said, 2 different sides of the coin. You got good and evil, pretty much. But I'm a Christian myself,
Oh, praise God.
Greek Orthodox, very similar to Catholic. It's not too much difference, the big difference really. So I can understand. I think most people live in that kind of world, really, where they live on 2 sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I'm not saying on an everyday basis, but look, like the saying goes, we're sinners every single day. Besides, there's only one without sin is God and Jesus, obviously. Not to get all religious right now, but that's the fact.
No, it is. It is.
So it's hard to escape unless you're, a totally good boy, which I think is kind of tough.
Yeah, it is.
Especially nowadays.
Well, you know as much as I do. Trying to live in this world and trying to be a proper Christian, it's hard. It's hard to walk that line,
I mean,
it's like a toddling fence sometimes. But I got to say this: if we love Christ and we're Christians and we try to do the right thing every day and do our best, I think God's happy with us.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, like we were talking about Johnny A before.
Yeah.
Johnny A, he did a lot of bad things in his life. We all know this. He had a rough life, many years in jail, whatever, 16 years. And I give the guy credit when I did the book with him. But here's a guy who comes out of that kind of lifestyle like yours, like you did. And he turned his life around, tried to do something positive, especially for young kids, which that was the whole purpose of the book, really, was to get the youth to read it. So to scare them straight that this is not the way to go. That you don't want to end up in prison. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to do this thing. Because me and John both have been there. Well, him more than me, obviously, but we've both been there, kind of a thing, and we understand that this is not the right way to go.
Right.
So I give John a lot of credit, even though he gets a lot of slack for it. Oh, he was a rat and this and that. I mean, even I got slack when I did the book with John, Bobby. Not to point fingers, but the Gotti crew came after me pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Forget about it. Emails, Twitter account, Facebook, phone calls. I even got a letter to cease and desist for the book, believe it or not. So I ignored all that bullshit. I'm like, leave me the hell alone. I'm writing a book. Leave me alone. Oh, you should have done with this guy. I'm like, why not? This is business. I'm not married to the guy. not my girlfriend. This is business.
Right.
But no, they don't want to hear anything about it. I got harassed like you have no idea.
Yeah, it's like, John ALITE does a lot of things behind the scenes. He's really trying. He's doing good for people. I can't see, I understand the attacks to a point, but I think it's just getting ridiculous from everybody. I mentioned this, I do a live show every Wednesday night, and we were talking about this last week, and we're going to talk a little more on my live show tomorrow night about the psychology, behind these former mob guys like myself that are doing these shows. Really, we should be left alone. I don't care what beef he has with the GOTTIs. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. These attacks are ridiculous. I told John before, I said, John, you're a man. You did what you did. A lot of people know what you did. You're a bad guy. You don't have to defend yourself. If you start defending yourself with these people, Nick, after a while, they're going to stop. They're going to stop.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that fuse is going to die out like they did with you. They couldn't get nowhere with you. What did they do? They stopped.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I didn't really play into it. I kind of like ignored them.
Yeah.
Once or twice I told one of these Gotti puppy dogs, this guy Chris Casparosa, his name is, and I told him, I said, listen, straight up, leave me the hell alone. I'm doing my job. This is what I do. I'm a writer. I have no reason to abandon this project.
Mm-hmm.
Or for nobody.
Right.
It's for me. I ain't doing this for you or anybody else. So leave me the hell alone.
That's right.
So I think at that point he kind of like backed off.
Well, that's what they're gonna do. If they can't get no way with the bullying and the bullshit, they're gonna stop. They're gonna stop.